நின்ற தூயமணி சத்குருவே.
We look at the human being as an entirety. What happens in my little finger inevitably happens in my brain, all right? What happens in every cell in my body inevitably happens in my brain. First of all, in any of the yogic texts or any of the yogic lore, there is no mention of brain. So, what do you do with somebody like me who doesn't have a brain, who just has a turban, all right? So what do you do with me? Because we do not recognize brain as a very significant part of human ecology. We see mind means we say manomaya kosha, which means the entire body is a mind of its own. There is one layer of body which is doing mental functions on various levels. This, I would say, very skewed level of significance to the brain has essentially come because cultures which recognize human thought as the highest possibility in human life, these kind of conclusions have come because societies were so dogmatic that they wouldn't allow you to think straight. They wouldn't allow you to think for yourself because somebody up there will think for you. So when they broke away from that and people started thinking for themselves, they felt so much kind of liberated from the dogmatic existence that they had. They started giving unnecessary levels of significance to human thought and emotion. In the yogic sciences, we don't pay heed to your thought process because we see your thought process as just recycling of the little data that you have. But what's happening in every cell in the body is a phenomenally more complex mechanism, phenomenally more complex activity than what is happening in terms of, thought and emotion circulating in your head. So, in terms of memory and in terms of intelligence, both ways, every cell in your body carries more memory than you can ever carry in your brain and more intelligence in terms of sophisticated and complicated activities that every cell in the body is doing. So, having said that, so there is a mind across the body. As there is a physical body, there is a mental body, there's an energy body, there's an etheric body. So depending upon your access that you have found to these 4 or 5 different dimensions of bodies, or the alignment of these first 3 bodies, the physical, mental and energy body, your mental health is decided by how well aligned these 3 dimensions are. Your physical body, your mental body and your energy body, if they're properly aligned, this means only then you find access to the 4th dimension of the body, which for lack of English words we call it etheric, but it is actually called as Vijnanamaya Kosha. To explain Vijnan, I mean, 3 of you are from Indian background, so generally the word Vijnan is used as science. Vijnanam or Vijnana means science. Vijnan means Vishesh Jnana. That means that dimension of perception which you cannot have through your 5 senses. That means that dimension of perception that you cannot see, that you cannot hear, that you cannot smell and taste or touch, when you perceive that dimension, then we say it's Vijnan. So this is a dimension within you which is moving from physicality to a non-physical state. Because we see mind also as a physical thing. See, as if I wish, I can throw a thing at you. Similarly, I can throw a thought at you. So we treat thought as a physical process, emotion as a physical process. Because thought and emotion have a physical existence. Now that you can measure it on whatever kind of instruments you guys have, obviously it's physical. When you can measure something on a physical parameters, physical instrument, obviously it subscribes to physical parameters and it is a physical thing. Mind is physical because it has a chemical and electrical background to it. So, we don't see mind as a separate mechanism, brain as a separate mechanism. The neurological system, as all of us know, is right across the body and everything that happens in every cell of this system has an impact on our mental health. First of all, what is mental health? Right now, I'm sorry if I say something abrasive, please pardon me, I'm not intending to offend anybody, but for me it sounds ridiculous that people are going about making being stressful, being anxious as normal things. It is not normal. When you were a 5-year-old child, joy was normal, isn't it? When did it so happen that stress became normal, tension became normal, anxiety became normal, being depressed became normal? Slowly this is a new normal we're establishing. This new normal is completely away or deviant from the natural existence of a human being. So essentially, let me put it in my own experience, because I'm neither qualified in scriptures nor in modern science. All I know is, I know this piece of life absolutely, from its origin to its ultimate, and that's all I know. I'm speaking from this context. It so happened one day I suddenly realized that if I don't mess with my mind, I'm always ecstatic. I'm just dripping ecstasy simply because I don't put my hand into my mind. So once I realized that, I really thought, this is it. I was 25 years of age at that time. On that day, after a few weeks of experimenting with it, and I saw every time I just don't touch my mind, I'm just overflowing with ecstasy, then I made up my mind. I made a plan for the world. On that day, the population was about 5.6 billion people. I made a plan that in 2.5 years' time, I will make the entire population ecstatic. I thought I have discovered something. Well, it's only later I realized in the tradition there is so much talk about it. Till then I had no clue about any tradition, all I knew was I have hit a gold mine. If I just take my hand off my mind, I'm just bursting with ecstasy. I actually sat down and made a plan. In 2.5 years, I will make the entire world ecstatic. Who wouldn't want it, I thought. Now nearly 40 years, look at me. We have touched a few million people, but that is not the entire population. But it slowly I discovered people are so invested in their miseries. Initially I thought, who would not want to be ecstatic? But people are so invested in their miseries, they are not going to give it up because they have been socially taught misery will produce results. They think anger will produce results, anxiety will produce results. A whole lot of people are writing books how you can use the energy of anxiety into a creative process, energy of anger into a creative process, resentment into a creative process. All the best for you. If you want to do everything from an unpleasant source within you, all the best. Fundamentally, if you really look at yourself, you are neither joyful, nor painful, nor miserable, nor anything. You can make yourself anything you wish. It is just that human beings have given up this choice as if they have chosen to go back in the revolutionary process. The significance of being human is just this. See, this is the only creature that you refer to as a being. You don't call a tiger a being, an elephant a being, an ant a being, because they're all creatures of compulsive, instinctual reactions. This is the only one which is capable of a conscious response to everything that happens within and outside of us. So this knows how to be, that is the reason why we have called this a being. But how far away from that have we gone? Humans know how to be, they are the only ones who don't know how to be. It looks like the other creatures know, a rat knows how to be a good rat, a tiger knows how to be a good tiger, a human being doesn't know how to be a wonderful human being. This is the only problem you're facing. Actually, there is only one problem on this planet, human being. Have you seen any other problem, I'm asking? Nobody has come to you with any trouble, isn't it? This is the only trouble, human being. Our problem essentially, how I see it is, see, I've said this in many different ways, but in the evolutionary process, from a goat to a giraffe, from a pig to a rhinoceros, something like this, it was taken millions of years. But anthropologists say that from a monkey to a man, it happened rather too quickly. So quickly they have been looking for a missing link which they have not found yet. So in a way, as all of you know, the DNA difference between a chimpanzee and us is only 1.23%. 1.23% is not much of a difference. So physiologically, we are that close to a monkey. But in terms of our intelligence and awareness, we are worlds apart from a monkey. So in many ways, our problem is just this: we have not learned to handle our own intelligence. You can give it any number of names, you can call it tension, anxiety, stress, depression, this, that, whatever. Essentially, our intelligence has turned against us. Why would our own intelligence turn against us? Somewhere we don't know how to handle it. We do not know how to manage our own intelligence. As all of you know, those of you who are working, all three of you who are working in these areas, Bala will give anesthetic, but you guys know if we remove half our brain, everybody will be peaceful. Yes or no? Right now, being peaceful seems to be such a big challenge. If you take away the possibility of being human, peace will happen, no problem. So today people are going about talking as if being peaceful is the highest goal in your life. Well, if you remove half your brain, you will be peaceful. An earthworm is peaceful, nothing wrong with him. He's a wonderful creature, he's even eco-friendly, which you're struggling to be. So, what I'm saying is, essentially human problem is, human faculties are so many and so profound that human societies have not invested in learning to handle our own faculties. If your thought and emotion happen just the way you want, would there be any of these problems, I'm asking? Forget about the other dimensions of life, just thought and emotion. You know how to make it happen. Your thought happens the way you want, your emotion happens the way you want. Is there any psychological issue, I'm asking? Reddy Garu is talking about intellectual, lack of development, or what's it called, I'm sorry? Intellectual disability, is that right?
Yeah. Yes, yes.
Intellectual disability. Well, if we compare ourselves to each other, each one of us are intellectually disabled in some way, isn't it so? Is there any two individuals who are exactly same level of intellectual capability? It is not so. It is only in a schoolroom, unfortunately, we are trying to put every child through the same extruder of intellectual competence, which is destroying human beings in so many different ways. But every one of us is intellectually disabled compared to somebody else, isn't it? Each one of us, at least me. You guys are too educated, you cannot say that. At least me,